I don't do this for no fame, I just do this for my game. Bitch, you see the diamond chain, and it matched the pinky ring. She didn't want me.
2 weeks ago, I bought a camera lens. This one, to be specific. Now, I don't know anything about photography, camera lenses, or cameras in general, but I was able to flip this for £225 more than what I bought it for. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Boyan. I am a first-year computer science student. I started this channel to dedicate it to helping young people, students in particular, save money and live more fulfilling lives. I make weekly content about uni life, budgeting, and self-help. First off, let me get something straight. So this process actually takes a lot longer than expected because, I mean, not everyone is cool with you essentially like ripping them off. So I initially gave this a go like early January time, but I gave up after messaging like a few people. This is the biggest mistake that you can make when flipping on any like marketplace. You need to be very persistent when you actually do this because you need to actually be very persistent when you do this. It took me like around 20 people before like I found the seller for this lens. The whole process for me of like negotiating and like messaging back and forth and arranging like a collection time, location, etc. that took about 2 hours for me. After I found the seller and the lens that I was about to buy, which is this one, I watched a couple of videos on YouTube on how to like inspect lenses to make sure that they're working, because obviously I don't have a Canon camera. I'm shooting this on my phone, by the way. So I had to like research it a little bit because I have no clue like anything to do with lenses basically, and I didn't want to look like a fool and just, you know, buy a broken one for £200 and be £200 down. So that process took about half an hour of me just like watching really boring videos on YouTube, but it did pay off though, because I was able to like properly inspect the camera lens and like basically not get scammed. So I met with the guy the next day to collect the lens and pay for it. That whole process took around 3 hours as the meeting place that we agreed upon was quite far from where I lived, and like there wasn't really public transport to get to there. So about 2 hours of that of the 3 hours was just me walking in the cold, and this led to me catching a fever actually. But you know, for £160 total profit ish, I'd say it's definitely worth it. Initially, I listed it for £550, as that was the like highest amount that it's ever sold for on eBay. I wasn't really in a rush to sell the lens, so I was able to like slowly decrease the price over the period of like 2 weeks. This is really good because essentially you can milk every pound out of your product as you slowly decrease the price, and also like the watchers on your listing actually think they're getting a better deal because they see your price lowering every day. So like it creates a sense of urgency for them to buy basically. So this morning, I found out that it actually sold for £425. After eBay fees, I would be and like obviously the initial £200 that I put in, I would be making around £160 net profit, which is really good for like 5.5 hours of work, because that makes my hourly earnings to about like £30 ish. I'll have like the maths appear on screen right now. Obviously, in my opinion, every uni student should be doing this, as it's like a really easy way of making money, unless you live in unless you go to like a uni where it's just basically like in the middle of nowhere and you're unable to really find any Facebook sellers anyways. But obviously you have to approach this with like very realistic expectations. I'm sure not every flip will be as profitable as like this lens right here, but I mean, you can definitely get more profitable flips. It's a lot of the time it is a matter of luck. And also, if you do want to flip high ticket items, you need a higher starting capital. So for example, this lens costed me £200 like initial investment. If you don't have a lot of money, you probably have to start a lot smaller with maybe something like like a point and shoot camera. So realistically, depending on your geographical location and your like mobility and stuff like that, I'm guessing the realistic like hourly earnings would be somewhere in the range of like £15 to £30. This certainly beats any job out there, basically, for, undergraduates. And this is also really good because, it's so easy that anyone with half a brain cell can do it. So now I want to give you guys some like tips and tricks that I've learned along the way through this flip itself, and just from like selling stuff on eBay in general. Number one, you have to have very, very good pictures. Like, a lot of eBay listings, especially when they're secondhand, have really terrible pictures. If you make your pictures look professional, you immediately, essentially you can raise your price above other listings and people will still buy it because they see it as like a more credible and more like reputable seller, right? Make sure that your backdrop is very clean. Don't have like pens, papers, and like just random plates and stuff lying around. Make sure it's like a nice plain backdrop, or you could have like a wooden surface that also looks really good. One bonus tip I have for you guys is that I always try to incorporate some sort of plants into my listing. So either something small like this, or in my camera lens listing, I actually used my aloe vera. Obviously I took all the money out and stuff, but you guys get the gist of it. Oh, also, good lighting is extremely important. So I have this lamp over here. Don't know if you guys can tell, but there's a lamp right here that gives off like white light. So I use it to shoot all my eBay pictures, basically. So I just like, for the lens, actually, I held it with one hand and took pictures on my phone with the other. Try to avoid creating like shadows, but obviously, when I show you guys the pictures on my eBay listing, there was actually some shadows. Another tip is make sure there's actual demand for your item, because some, especially like certain high ticket items, are very niche specific. So like, there's very low demand for it. Yeah, so to check the demand, search your product on eBay and then look at like sold listings, and it will show you the dates and like how many days are between each unit sold. Obviously also look at like the price that it's selling for. I always recommend listing it for the highest price possible and then slowly going down, unless you really need the money, in which case you could probably undercut some people and still make like a little bit of money on top through that. But like, obviously with that, it's not ideal as you essentially lower your earning possibility by a lot. Also, another thing is make sure in your profit margins to factor in the 15% like eBay, PayPal fee, and then sometimes if you want to pay for postage yourself. I do that a lot of the time because I feel like, you know when you buy stuff online, it's like plus £8 shipping, and it's like, it's the most frustrating thing because it's like, I don't want to pay shipping, I want to buy the product. So normally I just do free shipping for all my eBay items. Lastly, make sure to negotiate with cash, and always like, well, you can pay by bank transfer if you want, because it's safer as you're protected a little bit, but like nothing beats just holding cash, and because that actually like psychologically tempts them into giving up easier. Now, if you guys want to see more in-depth videos on how to Facebook flip, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll probably make a video on that, or I'll probably make like a in-depth like PDF on how to actually Facebook flip, and with like all the lessons that I have learned personally. Obviously that'll be free. It'll be updated in the description of this video in the future if you guys want that. I say you guys like I have fans, but anyways, besides the point. As always, I'm gonna ask you guys to like and subscribe to this video, as I mean, I literally did get sick from making this video. Facebook flipping isn't something I'm too interested in, so like I'm not actually gonna do it frequently. Obviously, if I need some money, like not urgently, but like, if I want some more extra spending cash, this is definitely the method that I will go for. Because it doesn't take that much brain power or time, so it's like anyone can find the time for it. Now, I believe I gained 5 subscribers since the last video, but I don't know who they all are, right? I only know 2 because not everyone's subscriptions are public, so I don't get notified of those. But here's the 2 that subscribed, Fayus and Sachin. Thank you very much, greatly appreciate it. See you guys next week.